So who? Would she like to speak? No? No? Little? No, okay. All right. I think that you should speak something. Okay? You. Yeah, you should speak. Yeah.
Looking at me?
Yeah, you're very senior. You had so much association. Speak. Little bit. A few minutes.
I feel like I will break down and it will be messy.
That's okay. Breakdowns are completely legal here. You can do. Where's the microphone?
Here.
So can bring the microphone. You want Damodar? You want to speak something? You want to speak? If you like. This is a Guru Day and Vyas Puja Day. I know that one.
Maharaj, please, I don't want to be recorded. Please.
No, it's seva. Just think of the lotus feet of Gurudev and how much you received from him all these years. 2 minutes. Two.
So, I am exceptionally unqualified to do a proper Puspanjali to Sri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. So I'll try to do something.
Tell about when you met him, what you felt.
It's just personal.
Yes, very personal.
I usually don't like to share me in the story, but I could start with explaining that I spent my teenage years trying to draw Sri Radha Krishna. I was obsessed. Hours will pass and I would not even eat to go in the bathroom. And when I was 18 years old and I traveled to New York, the temple president from New York had gotten copies of Seva Kunj. And when I saw this on a Wednesday, March of '94, I literally went crazy over this painting. I was extremely shy. So me going crazy and demanding to speak to anyone who would know anything about where this painting came from was unbelievable. So I demanded I need to speak to the president, whoever. I need to know where this painting came from. And the president, whoever knows the president, the past president of the New York Temple, they know that his personality. It was unbelievable that he came and he spoke about the painting. He was excited, he appreciated the painting, but I just wanted to hear, where did this painting come from? Oh, Jadurani Mataji made.
Which painting?
Seva Kunj.
Oh, okay.
Jadurani made this painting. Yes, but where did it come from? And I was wanting to hear. And he finally said, some advanced devotee.
Mm-hmm.
An advanced devotee explained to her how to make this painting. Look at the details. There's manjaris in the background. There's the flute by her feet, and look at her emotions. I went to one corner of the lobby and I prayed to Krishna intensely. This is so personal. And I asked Krishna, just like Rukmini heard about your glories and she wrote you a letter to kidnap her. And I have learned all my life until now that the association of such an advanced devotee will get me closer to you. Please get me to this advanced devotee. I didn't get a name.
No internet.
I didn't know who it was. I didn't have a face, nothing. So I depended on Krishna. So on December 27, 1995, I was on an airplane to Calcutta. But all the while, I'm feeling anxiety, like an anxiousness to get to Vrindavan. But I had forgotten this. I said, Krishna, I'll just not stress over this prayer. I will let it go, but please make arrangements. So I didn't remember this. I was just going to India and I'm going to see Navadvip, everything. Okay, I get to Vrindavan and a disciple of Srila Prabhupada called Navadvip Prabhu from Vrindavan. He said, do you want to go and listen to an advanced devotee? To a few of us. I still made the connection in my head. Okay, let's go in 2 days. We went to this little temple, Rupa Sanatan now I know. And when I went through the doorway, I saw so many brahmacharis. And I really was hit with an intense, amazing energy. And I said to myself, whoever is here is incredible. They invited us to Haraprasada, and then I was told, do you know what's here? The original. Your favorite painting, the original is here. That was the most exciting thing I ever heard in my life. And I asked if I could see it. Yes, where is it? I ran upstairs looking, it was open. And then I saw the manjaris for the first time. And then I remembered that prayer I made to Krishna. If this painting is here, then that advanced devotee has to be somewhere in Loy Bazaar, somewhere in Vrindavan, somewhere around. And a devotee came by, I asked if they know how to speak some English. No. Next one, they said, little bit. Please show me advanced devotee who made this painting. Oh, come with me. 5 steps, and right there in the room was Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj sitting on a bed and laughing so loud with the room packed with devotees. And I was stunned. That was unbelievable. Krishna had brought me there, right to his bedroom. And I understood that whatever prayer we make, in order to get closer to Krishna, he really seems to satisfy those really fast. So that's my first encounter in February 1996 with Srila Gurudev. It was the most beautiful thing. I was confused. I did not know what to make of it. So then after I made the prayer, please Krishna, show me how to take full value of an association and service to Shri Guru. And that's my first encounter with Shri Gurudev. And then after Shamanani Didi, after Srila Gurudev left our vision, she gave class and explained, Gurudev asked me to paint his heart. This is Seva Kunj. And he said, this Seva Kunj painting will call all my disciples. And needless to say, I was in tears, because that is exactly what happened. When I saw the painting, I had to go as fast as possible to Gurudev. Srila Gurudev ki jai.
But then what happened?
Huh?
But then what happened? Come on, then what happened?
Really? Okay. So after, what part? Yeah, just give the
Well,
next
like-
part.
Okay, but
Okay.
you're, when you
Finally.
received initiation, all of that, okay?
Okay. So in 2004, I came to Parikram in Vrindavan, Prashmana Parikram. And I had a dream that Gurudev gave Harinam Diksha. He was sitting in a throne, beautiful red asana. And he gave my japa, he gave Harinam, he gave a japa to Arani Maharaj. And then he gave Diksha mantras, and then he asked Arani Maharaj to explain to me the Diksha mantras. And I got up from that dream so confused, and the name also was confusing. But then we went to Gurudev, and friends were saying to give me Harinam, arranging for my Harinam Diksha. And Gurudev said, but I gave in the dream. And then I said, oh Gurudev, could it be when I'm awake you could give please? When I'm awake. He moved his head sweetly, and this was actually when Gurudev was receiving massage in Govardhan, in the Govardhan temple. He was actually in a gamcha, and he was receiving the sun while giving massage. So this was, wow, I couldn't believe I was having that darshan. Very relaxed, very smiling. And so then Gurudev gave Harinam and Diksha, but before, I was actually wondering, I was questioning, because I was becoming famous singer in ISKCON. If I get initiated by Srila Narayana Maharaj, well, that was going to stop. So then I was in the gateway of the temple, and I was really going within. And the answer was, at the time of death, no fame and no one but Sri Guru of this caliber can get me where I need to go. And I had asked a few Vaishnavas what to do as well. But yeah, in good association, we're always in the right direction. This is good, Maharaj. You're satisfied?
A little more.
A little more. So I hadn't realized that the advanced devotee, and somehow it didn't click yet, because at the time there was no emails, there was not, it was blurry in my head. So only after I received Diksha, and then in 2005 I was chanting, and I realized my whole life was all about that moment, to see this Radha Krishna Seva Kunj painting and arrive to Srila Gurudev's lotus feet. And he always was so kind and attentive. And even when my son was born, he demanded that he would put on his legs. And always so kind and patient. And I still pray that one day I could understand and get closer. It is a very amazing thing to miss him as if he's gone and feel him so close. As he said, he's closer to us more than the air we breathe. Yes, he's closer, feeling there all the time. It's impossible to forget him. And I feel like the need to be able to, in some way, do something for him. But here I am, trying. Please, Maharaj, be satisfied.
But what about your son and in Gurudev's lap?
Okay. So I am I'm like sister with Raghunath from when he was in Miami, and whoever knows him. He's like a brother to me, and I was thinking that the time I gave birth, that Gurudev is coming, and so I was making arrangement in my head, I must get somehow Gurudev's hand on my son's head. So I called Raghunath. I said, please, is there any way I could stay there, and then we will clean, if anything, I'll do anything, if I could just come stay there. So when Gurudev arrives to your apartment as we're going out, we will meet. So he said, yeah, no, don't worry, you come. It doesn't matter how much you clean, they always come and re-clean. So don't even worry about that, just come. So kind. And we came, and he was giving class in Miami, for Lauderdale. And the morning that Gurudev was supposed to arrive to this apartment in Miami Beach, he entered. It was an amazing thing when you see him enter. And my Santosh was recently bathed, wrapped in a yellow cloth and fresh tilak. And all I was really wanted is that Gurudev maybe just touch his head. But Gurudev sat down and slapped his legs, like as in, put baby on my lap. But everyone was in this disbelief, like, what is he saying? Then he hit again. No one is moving. And then the third time he hit so hard. Put baby in my lap already. Like he said it in Hindi. Put baby. And baby was placed in his lap.
Which baby was it?
This one.
Oh, okay.
3 weeks old. He was 3 weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
Started to bless the baby who had closed eyes, and Madhava Maharaj, which we all pretty much know his personality, but in this moment he was so soft and sweet. He exclaimed, "Oh, look, baby's opening his eyes to meet with Gurudev's eyes." I was like, wow. Very surprised with that reaction. I was just to compose myself and take pictures, and then really look at me. After he gave blessing, passed his hand from head to toe, said, "Take very good care of him." And I have a picture where he's looking at me with his blue eyes. Take very good care of him. It was so, like, the only real order he gave me to take.
Did you hear that, all you mothers and fathers?
Yeah, and then after that, I just made sure that I sold my house so I would be able to do parikram, at least Vrajamana parikram with this child. And Gurudev gave him so much affection, so much attention, and it was all really sweet mercy and compassion.
Okay.
Okay.
You can bring the mic. Bring the mic. Okay. Jai Prabhupada. Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Tadiya Tirobhav Maha Mahotsav Titi Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. This has to be put a little bit further. It's coming down. Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astu Tarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Tadiya Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav Titi Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So this cannot go down further because it's unbalanced. That's the problem. Okay. Okay. So this is a very auspicious day. Is it not an auspicious day? Huh? What do you think?
Most auspicious.
Why auspicious? Because oh my God. He's going to start drilling. Because on these auspicious days of disappearance and appearance, and this is both today. One acharya appeared, another acharya disappeared. So on these days, special mercy is being given by them. Special mercy. More powerful on this day than any other day of the year to worship them. Who told us this again and again and again and again? Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. Again and again he emphasizes this. So we should try to hear about him, glorify him on this day, both of them, and receive their blessings and mercy. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatadanam Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Trishe Nama. Everyone, Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Brindai Tulsi Bai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srila Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Bolo loudly. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. First of all, I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams, my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astotarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I offer my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. My Dandavat Pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis. Yes, I'm remembering in Jagannath Puri on this day in the year 2010. The last, was it 2011, the first day of 2011, or the last day? 29th, yeah, And we were there with our Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who was in his final last days of manifest presence on this planet. And he had been giving the warning, or not warning, but he had alerted all of us from many months before when he came to Badger, California Festival in that year, that same year, 2010. And the first words that came when he sat on the Vyasasan were, "This will be the last." So, and it was. Then he had one festival in Europe after that festival in Badger. And then he had one final festival in Moscow. Very short. There's a whole story. We don't have time to tell all the stories of all the different festivals, but he satisfied everyone's heart. Gurudev's presence was astonishing. And the fact that he actually traversed the entire globe. I think it's like 31 or 32 world tours within a 15-year period. And he gave his holy, saintly darshan to thousands and thousands of devotees all over the world. And of course, he would come back to India, and there would be thousands of devotees waiting there in Kartik time, and also Navadvip Parikrama time, and so forth. But our beloved Gurudev, he was the servant of his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, to the core. I was just showing the other day a diorama exhibition there in Navadvip, which is depicting Srila Gurudev's first time meeting his Guru Maharaj. And you know, Gurudev was in his former ashram, he was actually Grihastha, and he was a police officer, yes. And actually he was worshipping Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman from his childhood, very devoted to them. And you'll see there in his samadhi at Keshavji Gauri Mat in Navadvip, where I live, you'll see there how when Gurudev was a young boy, he was asleep and he was dreaming. And do you know who came in his dream? Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. They appeared. So this very beautiful, like I said, diorama with the different forms and deity forms of these personalities. And so in his dream, they appeared to him. But he was meant to manifest to the whole world another kind of mood and rasa. And what was that? The worship of Shri Radha and Krishna. And his life is astonishing because he met one disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is actually the first time that he came into connection in his village in Bihar. He came into connection with the followers of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, particularly Gaudiya Mat. And there was one disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur there. That disciple was named Narottamananda Brahmachari at that time he was. Later on, he became one of his main Siksha gurus, and his name became Bhakti Kamala Madhusudan Maharaj. We have the short biography of him in Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj's book, My Beloved Masters. So when he heard, actually they spoke together in English language, even though Gurudev was not completely fluent in English, but he knew. And Narottamananda Brahmachari, he knew English quite well. But neither of them knew each other's language. Gurudev didn't know Bengali at that time, and he didn't know Hindi. So Gurudev's first darshan, hearing the Katav, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, was in the English language, which I guess you could say it was a foreboding sign of how he would travel all over the world and speak to the whole world in the English language. So there was also one incident, I'll tell you this incident. Because I said Gurudev was a police officer. And you know, there was one day when he became so absorbed in chanting. And at that point, he was already chanting Maha Mantra. He was not just chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. He became so absorbed and that he wasn't aware externally. And that the time went by, that he was supposed to go to work at the police office, but he ended up not going. So he was thinking, oh, what did I do? When I go tomorrow, I'll be very heavily, you know, chastised. So he ended up coming the next day to his office, thinking that they're going to really heavily chastise him, that he wasn't there, or that there was some very important thing that happened that he was not there for. And there was a very important thing that happened. You remember what that was? There was a particular file. You know, they used to have them all in these manila envelopes. They didn't have files on phones and computers and all of that, so they had like stacks of files back in those days. There's some very important file, and they were all searching and searching for it, this file. But Gurudev, he did not come there at that time. And they were wondering, but then all of a sudden he showed up on that day. So the devotees, the other police officers, when he came to work the next day, they were all very happy to see him. They said, oh, you did the most amazing thing yesterday. And Gurudev is wondering, what? What thing did I do? They said, yeah. I mean, when you came into the office and you just immediately, you went to the stack of all these manila file folders and you immediately, within a few moments, you found that file, you took it out and you showed it to us. I did? Then Gurudev realized that Krishna had personally come in his form and covered for him because he was lost in the transcendental nectar of the holy names. He was completely floating in the ocean of bliss. So one thing after another, Srila Gurudev, gradually his household, it became clear that it's impossible for him to stay. And so he made plans. There's a little bit more information from his brother. There's a small book that's printed that tells something about Gurudev's family life and how the family really did not want it, but they saw that it's practically impossible. It's practically impossible to keep him here. Even he had two young, very small children at that time, two daughters. So Srila Gurudev, he went. He was in that mood that I must go. I must go. Finally he went. And on the day that he actually left home, in his village, from his village, he took the train, and he didn't tell anyone. And he also didn't tell anyone in Navadvip, because he was coming to Navadvip to meet for the first time his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. This is about 1949, wasn't it? Like 1949. Yeah. And so there's a diorama also there at the Samadhi depicting Gurudev's first arrival in front of his Guru Maharaj. And in the background, there's a painting of showing a younger brahmachari holding a lantern, a kerosene lantern. And that is actually Srila Vaman Maharaj, when he was Sajan Sevak Brahmachari. he came to the train station in Navadvip. Now in those days they didn't even have electricity. But he came there, and in the middle of the night the train arrived. And how did he know? How did he know to go there to the train station? Because Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj told him, oh, this such and such, this devotee, he is coming. You should go to the train station to meet him. And he had not even informed anyone. So that's quite amazing. So when he came to the train station, oh, Tiwari ji is calling out. And then he brought him to Devananda Gaudiya Math. And this diorama exhibit is showing Gurudev kind of like in his somewhat like a police type outfit, uniform, coat and pants. And he's kneeling in front of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj is standing up and he's leaning forward like this with his arms. And this is the first time that he came in front of his Guru Maharaj, and he was using his hands like this. He was showing, you can see his hand is like this. And Gurudev told us many times, he said, when I came to the lotus feet of my Gurudev, then I was completely overwhelmed with the mood of full surrender at his lotus feet. And at that time, I told him, I'm taking all of my attachments, my family, my this, my that, my entire pran, my life force. I am taking this and I'm surrendering this at your lotus feet. You see, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he appreciated so much, and he gave him an embrace. And from that moment on, this personality, he became Gaur Narayan, wasn't it? Gaur Narayan, his initiation name. And he would do everything, whatever seva was required to be done, he would do. And I'm remembering Gurudev describing one incident in his early, like just within days or weeks after first meeting his Guru Maharaj, and then there was some big program. And I think it was I'm not sure if it was in Calcutta or another place. I think it was in Calcutta. And, they had, as we see, they have a big pandal, tent put up. Then they have a stage there, and the brahmacharis and sannyasis are sitting on the stage and so forth. And then, Gurudev, as a very new disciple, he's sitting in front of the stage. And he sees that his Guru Maharaj is going like this, motioning to someone in the back of the room. And so, he turns around and he looks and he sees, there's this householder Vaishnava who's moving towards the stage, because Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was calling him, come. And when he saw this householder Vaishnava, then he immediately asked his Guru Maharaj, who was right there, sitting just in front of him up on the stage. He said, who is this? Oh, Gurudev, who is this? He says, this is a very exalted disciple of our Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his name is Abhay Charanaravinda. And then he gave him 3 instructions at that time. He said, you should carefully watch him. You should pay close attention. And you should also hear from him. And you should serve him. This is like the first time that he's meeting this personality, and his Guru Maharaj is giving him this instruction that would later become like his life and soul, and would be the inspiration for him. That relationship became the inspiration for him to follow the instruction of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur that he first received when he first met him in 1922 or 23 in Calcutta. And Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati gave him the instruction that you are a very educated young man. There was like 2 or 3 of his friends along with him. You should preach this message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the whole Western countries. And he was taken back. The very first words when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati met him, you're educated young men, you know English language, you should preach this message to the whole world. And our Prabhupada, Abhay Charan Day at that time, he was hearing from this from his guru, and he was very astonished. But what his guru was telling, he had some doubt inside of him. How can I do that? And he voiced his doubt directly to his Guru Maharaj, yes? And he said, oh, you're telling us that we should preach this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the whole world. But we, India, we are not even an independent nation. We are ruled over and controlled by other countries. What kind of... who will listen to us? Who will listen to us? And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, oh, you don't have to worry about that, because this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not dependent on any situation, political, social, economic, religious, nothing. This message is completely transcendental. So, of course, we don't know exactly what words he expressed to him, but when he told him in that way, then this Abhay Charan Day, he became completely convinced, this is the personality. Now, who he has manifested, and he is the personality that can bring this message to the whole world. So in this way, this connection with his Guru Maharaj, and then later on his connection with some of the disciples of his Guru Maharaj, like Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, and especially Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, from whom he received sannyas order. So Srila Narayan Maharaj is intertwined in this whole background, because when finally, that's a whole story, but finally he made a decision that he would leave home. And he owned 2 houses in Calcutta, and that he was having dreams of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur coming to him in those dreams. And then he became convinced, okay. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was telling him, you come now, take sannyas, take sannyas. Again and again he would have these dreams. So in this way, gradually it became very clear. There's a whole background story, of course, about how his business endeavors weren't panning out as he had hoped and expected. And also the shloka that Lord Krishna has told in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasyaham anugranami harishye taddanam shanai. You know what that means? That means, to that person who I want to give my anugraha, my full mercy. If I want to give my full mercy to someone, what will I do to that person? Do you know? Yes. Harishye means to take away. What? Tadhanam shanai, all of his wealth. Yes. That is a verse spoken by Lord Krishna. And then he says in the second part of the verse that, and when he goes through this, then his relatives and others, they become very disappointed with him, and they practically neglect him and all of that. But then in that condition, he takes full shelter of my lotus feet. That's why Krishna is doing that. So when Srila Prabhupada was young, he read that verse, and it frightened him, he said. It actually frightened him. But because he was thinking, because in his astrological birth chart, it said he would become one of the wealthiest men in India. So that was his objective. He's Vaishnava, and he wanted to make a lot of money, and he wanted to serve Krishna by his wealth in that way. But Krishna had a different plan, didn't he? So in this way, he left home. But he told the story to Srila Narayan Maharaj when he came to Mathura, When he left home, eventually he came to Mathura. He rented one room on the Yamuna River, and some brahmacharis saw him. Then they came back to the Keshavji Gaudiya Math, which was just a small part of that original building. You know, they were just renting like 3-4 rooms there. And he came back, they came back, and they said to Srila Narayan Raj, oh, there's a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati there. His name is Abhay Charan, like this. And then he immediately came there with the brahmacharis. And he said, Prabhu, what are you doing? You're staying here. No, no, you cannot stay here. You're like our father. You have to stay with us in our mutt. And he was saying, no, it's okay. No. Then he said, he told the brahmacharis, take his things, pack up all of his things, and he forcibly took him to Keshavji Gaudiya Math. And Gurudev describes how they lived in such a happy way at that time. They only had 2 rooms, plus the temple room, plus the kitchen and bathroom. And he gave 1 room to Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu. And for many months they lived together there. So he had very deep, intimate association with our Prabhupada. And he became one of the catalysts for Prabhupada's future mission. And how did he do that? Because he kept on telling him, as he was living there, Srila Prabhupada would give lectures sometimes, you know, and very educated people would come. And he would also speak in English language, sometimes in Hindi. And he would completely attract all these people, also writing articles in their periodical magazine and everything. And Srila Narayan Raj kept on telling to him, oh, Prabhu, you are so learned and you are so qualified, and your Guru Maharaj has given you this great life work that you're supposed to fulfill, of bringing this message to all the English-speaking countries. You cannot do this unless you take sannyas. You have to take sannyas. And again he was very reluctant and hesitant, you know. So anyway, eventually Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came there to that temple. And then he had a meeting. Actually, they were very intimate friends. There's a whole history of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and being very intimate friends with our Srila Prabhupada. And then they had a discussion, very serious discussion. And there was another godbrother there who was 92 years old at the time. He was also a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So in this way they had a discussion. And then Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj says, our Guru Maharaj has given you the whole complete responsibility for this mission of Mahaprabhu to be taken to the Western countries, to the whole world. He has given you that order, that instruction. So you must take sannyas. You cannot do this unless you take sannyas. So eventually he agreed, but he had a condition that this 92-year-old godbrother, who was named Sanatan Prabhu, that if I take sannyas, then he has to take sannyas also. So you see them in the photo with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj sitting on the chair, and on each side with their nude tridandas, then they're standing. And you see in Prabhupada's face, what do you see in that picture? Determination. Very determined in his eyes, you can see. Now is the time. But still, he had to bring Srimad Bhagavatam to the Western countries. So during that time, he was staying in one place in Vrindavan, but then he moved to the Radha Damodar temple. And at the Radha Damodar temple, now he began to translate the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It took 3 years, in 3 volumes. And he produced it, translated everything. And during this time period, Srila Narayan Raj would come from Mathura, and he would visit with his sannyasi godbrother now, you know. And they would sit together, they would discuss so many beautiful, wonderful, very deep, serious topics of Harikatha. And Gurudev, he says, I could see that he was living like completely Niskinchan Vaishnava. He didn't have any possessions practically at all. On the stone floor, He didn't even have like a straw mat or something for sitting. So then he said when he came there, they would cook together. And they would sit together, taking prasadam on this, he would take his chadar, like his woolen chadar, he put it on the floor, and then they would both sit together there. But they would cook together in his kitchen. You've all been there to the Radha Damodar temple, and you can see there's a kitchen room and then there's his living room. So then Srila Gurudev said that we would cook together in the kitchen, and he would roll chapatis and he would hand them to me, and then I would put them on the fire and puff them up on the fire. When I first heard that from Gurudev, I thought, wow, wow, look at that. That's exactly the relationship that they had. That Srila Prabhupada, he had his disciples. He trained them as much as he could, like rolling out the chapatis, getting them ready, to be put on, like they put them on a pan, and then they put onto the fire from the pan, right? So it's just like that. Srila Narayan Raj took the ready-to-cook chapatis in the form of Prabhupada's disciples and very senior devotees also who didn't get initiation from Prabhupada, but they were very, they were so much devoted to Srila Prabhupada. They met him after he left. But many of those devotees, they came and they joined, they came to the Harikatha of Srila Narayan Raj as he traveled around the world, and they became so much inspired. And their whole spiritual lives became revived. Probably there's at least 100 Prabhupada disciples, I think, in different parts of the world, where they fully accepted Srila Narayan Raj as their Siksha Guru. So it was like that Prabhupada had requested in his final days in Vrindavan to Srila Narayan Raj directly, who came to visit him. I was there, but I wasn't in the room when he came to speak with Prabhupada. We were also doing other services. But we would go into Prabhupada's room every day, and we would chant with very small little kartals and do kirtan, because Prabhupada wanted Maha Mantra to be sung continually. And so, but Srila Narayan Raj came there twice. We have a recording and a transcript of one of those conversations. And Srila Prabhupada is telling to him in his final days that I have brought so many of these sincere devotees from all different foreign lands, and they are very sincere, but they need more training. So you should help my disciples. After I go, you should give help to them. And Srila Narayan Raj, although he had some hesitation, because I think I told this the other day, he hesitated because he saw so many of the ISKCON leaders at that time. They were very completely Guru Nishta in Prabhupada, he saw. And he appreciated that. And so he was thinking, when Prabhupada was asking him to help his disciples, he was thinking, well, how can I help them? You see, they already have such Guru Nishta and all of this, huh? How can I help them? So then, Gurudev explained this later on, that he had hesitated a little bit when Prabhupada had told him that. And why did he hesitate? Because he was thinking like that, how can I? But then he saw that after Prabhupada left, then gradually, so many calamities entered into the institution. So many sannyasis and even the gurus were falling down and all of this. And then he began to understand, Acha, okay, now I understand why he asked me. But when he was hesitating, Prabhupada took his hands in his hands. And he says, give me your word. And then Srila Narayan Raj told to Prabhupada, yes, I give you my word. Whenever they will come to me, I will help them until my last breath. And that was the fact. Until his last breath, he helped all the devotees throughout the world, all the followers of Srila Prabhupada in all the different countries. And by the will of Krishna, he became the next world acharya. There are actually only two great personalities who very successfully toured the entire world again and again and again. There are a few others that came, they were for a short time, but Srila Narayan Maharaj, for 15 years he toured the whole world. Prabhupada, for 12 years he toured the whole world. So these two personalities are truly the modern day Jagat Gurus, Acharyas of the whole world, of Mahaprabhu's mission. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he was so affectionate to all the devotees that came to him. And you know, many of us, Prabhupada disciples, if we were not like a temple president or in some kind of management, it was hard to have one-on-one association with Prabhupada, in those later years especially, But even from the time that I came to Prabhupada in 1970, that's 7 years before Prabhupada left, already Prabhupada had hundreds and hundreds of disciples. So it was not easy to have like direct association with him one-on-one and talk to him or be in the darshans and ask him questions and like that. So in the hearts of many Prabhupada disciples, we have this desire that, if only I could have had more of this. But one time I was walking on parikrama with Srila Narayan Maharaj. I think it was 1994, my first time going on Brajmandal parikrama with him. And we were at Nandagaon. And in Nandagaon, there's one place called Uddhav Kyari. And this is the place where Uddhava, he witnessed the conversation of Srimati Radharani with the bumblebee in that very place. It's a very, very high place. And when we came there, it was the first time I was there, Gurudev and many of the his disciples, they were just weeping and weeping, And we were like trying to understand what is the significance of this place, So anyway, at that time it was just all like thorn bushes and kind of like like an area. It wasn't cleared at that time like it is now. But so we had to kind of crawl through and then find a place to sit, but there were like thorn bushes. So after that, everybody got up, and there was probably about 300 devotees at that time, mostly Bengalis. There was only maybe 25, 30 foreign devotees with Gurudev, because he hadn't gone to the West yet in 1994. So, and this was my first parikrama with him, and I'd already been with him for like 6 weeks, and every day Gurudev was completely melting us with his Harikatha. It was so powerful. It was so overwhelming. And then I remember walking, because when you walk from Uddhav Kyari, then you go towards the Nandagaon hill, right? You have to walk up but you can see the hill from the distance. And we're walking, through the fields and walking on the pathway. And Gurudev is up ahead. He's up ahead with, a bunch of devotees around him. And I'm looking at him from, 25, 30 yards away, meters away. And I began to think in my heart, I said to myself, I just thought to myself, there's so many disciples of Srila Prabhupada in the world today who didn't get so much direct association with Prabhupada, and then there's a whole bunch of devotees who came to the Prabhupada's movement right after he left the world, and they never got to meet Prabhupada personally. And inside of their hearts, there's a kind of a lamentation that, I never got to meet Srila Prabhupada. And then I thought in my mind, if those devotees would be here now on this parikrama with this personality, their desire to be with Prabhupada and have that personal association would be completely satisfied in their heart. A very powerful impression came to me like that. And this is before Gurudev started going to the Western countries, So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, who is he? Who is he? He's a highly exalted Mahabhagwat Vraj Rasik Vaishnava with the highest realizations of the Rupanuga Sampradaya. And Krishna arranged that such a personality like him would travel to the whole world. And what did he preach? He did not preach just the basics and Bhagavad Gita and so forth. Srila Prabhupada had done that work. That was required for Prabhupada to do that. But now he came, and especially he was targeting senior devotees, and some of them meeting him for the first time and all of this. And what was his intention? What was he desiring to do? He was desiring to implant all of these moods, these transcendental moods of Braja Ras, specifically the moods of the 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and coming down in the line that were expressed by the Rupanuga Acharyas over the last 500 years, like Baladev Vijayabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then coming down to Narottam, Srinivas, Shyamananda Prabhu, then coming down into the modern day through Madhavendra Puripad, and coming down to Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur or Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Narayan Maharaj was fully realized. He was not speaking theoretically, he had tasted. And when someone met him and stayed near to him, you could see 24 hours a day. I traveled with him for 15 years. Off and on, he would send me to go preaching, then come back and meet him in this country, that country. And Srila Narayan Maharaj was always completely equipoised. It didn't matter whether there was a room full of 1,000 devotees or whether there was just a little handful of devotees in the room. He was completely beyond any kind of material identification or any kind of even spiritual standard, oh, I'm an acharya, I'm this, I'm that. Completely immersed 24 hours a day. And especially, what did everyone experience? How Srila Narayan Maharaj spoke about Radha and Krishna. And especially, how Srila Narayan Maharaj expressed the moods of Srimati Radhika through the eyes, through the vision of the dasis, of the Palya dasis, of the Manjari, maid servants of Srimati Radhika, which is the position of Rupa Goswami as Rupa Manjari, of Raghunath Das Goswami as Rati Manjari, of all these personalities. This is the confidential truth that was not being talked about in the ISKCON society, especially at that time. And this is what Srila Narayan Maharaj came to give. And did he work hard to give that? Not only was he preaching, giving the lectures and so forth, what else was he doing? He was writing the books. He was translating the books. He had already translated a number of books into the Hindi language. That was the order of his Guru Maharaj, that he should translate from the Bengali into the Hindi. So the main important books, you can see the list of books, how he translated so many books, and then from his lectures also so many books were made. And what he gave was the essence of this Rupanuga Sampradaya, the moods of Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoy Ve Akuti Kabe Hama Bujha Bose Jugala Priti. The Jugal Priti. You know, Gurudev's Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he wrote a masterpiece song. Even his godbrothers, disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they were very astonished. He wrote this song. Which song? Mangala Shri Guru Gaura Mangala Murati Mangala Shri Radha Krishna Jugala Piriti. Gurudev tells about his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. Who is he? What is his standing in Goloka Vrindavan? What is his eternal rasa? And Gurudev tells the story of when the altar at Devananda Gaudiya Math, when they were first installing the altar there at Devananda Gaudiya Math, there were 3 stairways. 3 stairways on the altar, stairs. And one was painted yellow, one was painted blue, one was painted red. Gurudev tells the story that but the deities, there was no deities yet, they were not installed and so forth yet, but they were constructing. And then he asked to Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, oh, what are these 3 stairways representing? And the colors, specifically the colors. So, one stairway was blue. He says this stairway is representing Krishna. One stairway was yellow, golden. This stairway is representing Srimati Radhika. And one was, you remember? Red. But he didn't say who it was representing. And then they asked him, Srila Gurudev asked his Guru Maharaj, "Oh Guru Maharaj, what is the red stairway representing?" Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj became overwhelmed in ecstasy. Ecstatic symptoms were manifesting on his face, on his body. Tears were coming out of his eyes. He said, this is representing one very, very beautiful and intimate Palyadasi of Srimati Radhika. And then he stopped talking. And who was it representing? Himself. You know how it was manifested about his eternal name of his eternal form in Goloka Vrindavan? Yeah, but what? Which name? Yeah.
And also his name before getting sannyas was Vinod, I can't remember.
Well, he was Vinod Bihari, Brahmachari. Yes. But he is Vinod Manjari. All of our gurus in this disciplic line, some of them have revealed, some have not. Like in the case of our Srila Prabhupada. He revealed only very confidentially to Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj told, yes, he has revealed to me, I have seen him. They were arguing, no, Prabhupada is in Sakya Ras, this. No, I have seen him. He is Manjari. Gaur Govinda Maharaj, you were one of his followers.
Yeah, I heard his lecture speaking of this.
Yes.
Jagannath,
Yeah. Speak louder.
His name also.
Huh?
And he told his name also.
Yeah. And he told his name. So Srila Narayan Maharaj has given such a valuable contribution to the whole future mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the next hundreds and thousands of years. Why? Because that was not yet given. And he was the chosen personality descended to this world from Goloka Vrindavan to give that to the whole mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was the person. He is the Acharya of Vraj Ras Bhav. Okay? And he gave that as a humble servant of our Srila Prabhupada, as a humble servant of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. There is no doubt about it. Anyone can just look. Go to the bookshelf where all of his books are lined up and look at what books he gave. Now there are many books written by Rupa Goswami and the other 6 Goswami, many important books, many important commentaries by the different acharyas. And eventually, if someone is serious and they want this ultimate goal to be attained in this life or at least the next life, they have to read these books. They have to enter into these topics of the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Braj. But Srila Prabhupada could not give it at that time. Why? Srila Gurudev said so many times, all of his time was taken up in doing what? Clearing jungles. Because if you want to build something, you first of all have to clear the jungles and the land and all, then you can build. Huh? And he did clearing jungles and started to build the foundation, you know. So, that, what Prabhupada was able to give at that time, it was limited. Because first of all, his mission was expanding all over the world. And there were majority of the devotees, they were newer devotees. Newer means 1 year, 2 years, or they just joined, or there were new people in the audience. So what did Prabhupada have to preach? He had to preach Bhagavad Gita. He had to teach to all the jivas that this physical material body is not you. You are the Atma, you are the consciousness within the body. Prabhupada had to lay it out, the whole Bhagavad Gita, the whole philosophy. So there was not enough time. And the maturity of the disciples and so forth. But when Gurudev came, Gurudev was very completely one-pointed that I will go there and I will give these transcendental Vraj Ras Bhav, knowledge of all of this, what the Goswamis have given, all the moods of Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas, I will give that. And he did, from the very first tour. And I remember when he came to Badger, California, there's some of those girls who were little girls at that time in the year 1996. One of them sitting there and another one is sitting. And what did Gurudev preach? It was incredible. There in Badger, there was a number of senior devotees, Prabhupada disciples, like their parents. And Srila Gurudev did not hold back at all. And he began telling beautiful, sweet Braj Katha, so much pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and melting everyone's heart. And I remember, after that first darshan, there was a couple of Prabhupada disciples who really didn't become his full followers after that. And they were, ISKCON devotees. But I remember meeting in a room with maybe like 6 or 7 Prabhupada disciples. And they were there in the room. And the ISKCON GBC had given warnings. Don't go and hear from Narayan Maharaj. Blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on about that, okay? But I'm not going to use my time to do that. And then I remember, actually it was Madhusudan Prabhu. And his wife's name was Kanchan Bala. But he was there in the room. And he said, I don't know why they're telling not to go to hear from the It's beautiful, wonderful what he just spoke. You see? But despite all opposition was coming every year, year after year after year, and they were trying to stop him from preaching, and that ISKCON devotees would find out about him, and then they would leave their ISKCON guru, and he'd give them initiation, all of this. They were completely paranoid. All those years. 15 years. But you know what? They did not know that in Gurudev's chart, his astrology chart, it is shown there, whatever configurations. I'm not an astrology person with the whole vocabulary and this planet aspecting that planet and all that. All I know is what the astrologer devotee told me. When he looked at Gurudev's chart, like Budara Prabhu and 1 or 2 others, they looked at his chart and they saw this, like, what's it called? Constellation or whatever. This different planetary things that are shown in his chart. And you know what it means? It means this person, if he is challenged by anyone, what will happen? It will make him stronger. And that's exactly what happened. with all opposition. He became the world acharya, undisputed. They may dispute it all they want, but the proof is there. And all of his books are there. And it's laying the foundation for the future mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over the world. Now those books have been translated into all the different languages, even Chinese, Russian, all these different languages of the world. And everyone, African, many African languages, is all translated now. What are they going to do? Or how are they going to stop him now? They can't. Why? Because what he's giving is what Prabhupada wanted him to give. What he's giving is what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted him to give. All the Rupanuga Acharyas in our line. So we are living now at this time in history. And you should know this. This is a very, very unique time. Because that personality, he has departed physically from our sight 15 years ago. This is the 15th anniversary of Gurudev's disappearance. But is he still here? Oh yes. He's here even more than before. And guess what Krishna did? Krishna arranged this nice communication system on our planet called the internet. And guess what? Anyone, anywhere, even in an African jungle, can download all of Srila Prabhupada's books, Srila Narayan Maharaj's books, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's books, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri, so they can't stop. They'll never be able to stop. So Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj, he is the Acharya of Braj Ras Bhav, and he implanted this in many devotees' hearts. That's why these young girls in Badger, California, who their parents, some of them were Prabhupada disciples and some of them were senior devotees. And when Gurudev came that first time, 1996, at the end, actually he was only going to stay like 3 days. And then Nirguna Prabhu and who else? A couple of other, they requested, can you please stay a few days longer? Okay. Then he stayed another, 2 or 3 days, right? And then on the day that he was leaving to drive up to the Bay Area, where he was now going to inundate the Bay Area and all the devotees up there, and he was leaving in the vehicle to drive down the hill, and now the devotees were there with the kirtan seeing him off. And, the car disappeared. And then what happened? They went back into the house. I remember, Nirguna told us this. They went back into the house, and there are Nirguna's 3 daughters, and some of the other devotees were there. And they said, what are we doing here? Why are we here? Why aren't we going there? And then they loaded up their van and they drove up to the Bay Area, you see. But those little girls and boys who met Srila Gurudev on that first visit, what did they think about him? You know what they thought? Because their parents, they heard about Prabhupada while they were growing up and everything, And they understood Srila Prabhupada is our guru, like that. But when they met Srila Narayan Maharaj, you know what they said? He's our Prabhupada. Yes. He's our Prabhupada. And then Gurudev came there 15 years. And what did he do? He organized a festival, and he even named that little mountain town up in the mountains as New Vraj. New Vraj. Right? And what did Gurudev do? Every time that he would come, his annual visit for 15 years, one visit, 1 year after another, that would be the place where he would speak the most deep topics. Because why? There were many senior devotees came. Many senior devotees showed up at that time. Many senior devotees came. And so therefore Gurudev could speak like that. And what did Gurudev also have them organize? Dramas. All those girls grew up, and the boys, doing dramas of what Gurudev had been talking about, of the different Leelas and Radha and Krishna and so many, year after year after year. And Gurudev would sit there on the Vyasasana and watch the dramas. And he loved it because they were putting it into like living color what he wanted to express to the audience. And they were, emphasizing all these different points. And Gurudev was weeping on the Vyasasana almost every time. Gurudev would be weeping. And then at the end he would talk something about how wonderfully they have done this drama, and then he would give blessings to all. So every single year that became the, the tradition. And guess what? Still going on. 15 years after Gurudev left, still going on. Now it's the 30th anniversary, right? In New Braj. 30th anniversary of Gurudev coming. In 1996, and now 2025, almost 2026. 30th anniversary. And now those girls' daughters are now doing the dramas also, right? So like this, Srila Gurudev, he is so wonderful. What he did for us, we can never repay. We cannot even imagine what he gave. And the fact that he was not only aiming at us, he was aiming at all the next generations of Vaishnavas into the future. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj is the world Acharya of Vraj Rasbhav, and on this day of his appearance, and his dear godbrother Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, his appearance day, we bow down at his lotus feet and we pray at his lotus feet that we can become worthy disciples, that we can actually follow what he told us to follow. I looked at different lectures of Gurudev's and so all these different lectures on pure bhakti. I was trying to decide which one. I'll read some from here, from there. But Gurudev is again and again and again emphasizing that if you want relationship with Guru, you have to follow what Gurudev says. You have to follow what Gurudev says. You have to live it. You can't just, be a spectator. You have to apply it in your life. And he said if you do that, you will be completely amazed. If with all sincerity you surrender at the lotus feet of Guru, you follow his instructions in your life, you chant the Hari Nam every single day, then he said you will automatically advance very nicely. Very quickly you will advance if you do this in your practices. If you have to practice what Guru has given you. So Gurudev has given everything that we need. Prabhupada and the combination with Gurudev and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, everything's there. Now, if we become qualified and we begin to advance, and like Gurudev used to pray, he used to pray to Krishna right in front of us, right in front of the whole audience, sometimes in Badger, in front of 500 devotees, and he would say, I am simply praying to Krishna that all of you here in this life, that you can attain ruchi. And devotees would be like stunned, ruchi. Then he says, but if you cannot attain ruchi, then at least nishta. And then everyone, okay, well, maybe I can attain nishta. But Gurudev was setting us up for that. In this life, to go as far as we can go, and in next life, very high birth. Very high samskars. Krishna will give us the samskars, everything. So Gurudev is the Acharya to bring us back home, back to Godhead, where Prabhupada started to bring us in that direction. But it takes more than one life, And already for a number of lives, most devotees already have the Sukriti and the samskars from previous lives. But there's different degrees of these samskars. There's different depths. But Rupa Goswami says you cannot attain the stage of Bhav. He has written it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is not possible to attain the stage of Bhav unless you have Gadha samskaras. Gadha means very, very deep samskaras. So we are in the practicing stage. We are trying to do sadhan bhajan. And we should become very determined to do this sadhan bhajan that our Guru, Rupanuga Guru Varga, has ordered us to do. And our lives will become fully auspicious, and we will advance. We will utilize whatever years are remaining. If you're 50 years old, you might have 20 or 30 years left. But if you're in your 20s, you might be thinking that you have 50 years left, but who knows? We don't know. So, who is the oldest person? How do you know that who is the oldest person in a group? Is it all the gray-haired old people? You don't know who's the oldest person. You know why? Because the oldest person is the person who's going to die first. That's the oldest person in the room, and nobody knows. You see? So anyway, Gurudev, he gave us all of this. Now it's our job to follow and to improve. If we're not following properly and enough, then we have to improve this, and we have to alter our behavior, our spiritual behavior and following. And we have to become real followers at the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Gauranga and all of Mahaprabhu's associates and Mahaprabhu. This is our family, not children and wife and this in this world. That's all temporary. But this is our real family. These are our real friends and associates and eternal relatives of ours. So that's where we're going. The rest of the world doesn't know this yet. Even in India, lakhs and many Indian people, they don't even know. So we have to preach. We have to preach in this body, in this life, till it's finished. Then in the next body, we'll be given another situation where we're going to have to do a lot more preaching, a lot more association. So this is our story of our life. That's all. There's nothing else that is of any importance except attaining pure bhakti and then attaining the higher stages of nishta, ruchi, and asakti. And finally, with incredible good fortune, only by the mercy of Krishna and all the associates, then they can award us to attain the stage of bhav avastha. And in that stage, then we know what is our eternal identity, our swarup, everything is there. So Gurudev came to give that to us. And that's what Prabhupada came ultimately to give to the whole world, at least those who are fortunate jivas. So we should try to pray on this day that we can become real disciples, that we can surrender completely, do sharanagati and surrender, and then come into the beginning stages of real sadhana bhajan. But without sharanagati, that first has to be established. So Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj is the acharya of sharanagati. You can read his books. He has mentioned this and taught this. Because between Prabhupada and Srila Narayan Maharaj, I told this one time, and this is the last thing I'll say. I told this on the stage in Gopinath Bhavan, one of the final years during the Kartik Braj Mandala Parikrama, okay? And Gurudev was sitting there in the center on the stage, and we sannyasis and brahmacharis were sitting there on the stage also with him, and he was calling us to speak. And I believe it was the first day of Kartik, and which is the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And so he called a few of us to stand and speak. And when I was being called, I had been thinking in my mind that I wanted to say something, but I was a little bit not sure if I should say it, publicly, in front of Gurudev. But as I was speaking, then some courage came and I decided, okay, I'm going to say it. Then I said, in this modern era, we know that the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, that these are the three main broad topics of the Vedas, Vedic knowledge. So, in our line, in the Rupanuga line, we have three acharyas, who are the acharyas of that category of knowledge. So who is the Sambandha Tattva Acharya? Sanatana Goswami. Who is the what's the second one again? Abhideya, yeah. Who is the Abhideya Acharya? Rupa Goswami. Who is the Prayojan Tattva Acharya? Raghunath Das Goswami. So I actually said, we can see from the preaching of these three very great contemporary acharyas, one of which is sitting right now on the stage with us here. And by dint of what they have preached, what they have given, I have come to a conclusion that just like we have three acharyas of Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana in our Gaudiya line from hundreds of years, but in the modern day, we also have three acharyas. Who is the Sambandha Acharya of the modern day? Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Who is the Abhideya Acharya? Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And who is the Prayojan Tattva Acharya? Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. And all the devotees in the audience, they just like roared, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. I'm looking at Gurudev, if he was like a little upset. He wasn't upset. He was accepting what I told. But you know, there was some devotee that wrote to me, he saw the video of this, you know, some ISKCON devotee, and he said, how can you say that Prabhupada is only the Sambandha? And I said to him, I wrote him back and I said, no, I didn't say he's only the Sambandha. All three of these acharyas have preached Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. All three have preached it. But who have emphasized, no question about it, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, how to establish Sambandha Gyan. His whole preaching was about Sambandha Gyan. And Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, if anybody reads or hears or watches the videos of his katha, how is he preaching to all the devotees that are coming to him? He's preaching to them how they can enter the pathway, how they can come into Abhideya, how they can practice Shuddha Bhakti, beginning with what? Sharanagati. So I call him the Abhideya Acharya. But then Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, no question. None of the other acharyas have ventured forth as much as him. In his 15 years of traveling the world, and before that for 50 years in, you know, staying in the temple in Navadvip, in Mathura. So in that way, that I cherish this thought in my heart, that he really is the person who came to give these things. It was desired by Krishna that they should be given at this time. And he also gave the books, and all of his lectures recorded everything, so that anyone can listen to this or read this or watch the videos, and they can understand for many future generations that yes, these are the books that we need to read now. So in that way we're very fortunate on this day, the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and the appearance day of his godbrother, because he wanted to disappear on his disappearance day. But Krishna had a different plan. And they tried to thwart that plan. You know, some of the, like Premananda Prabhu, they were doing all kinds of yagyas to make sure that on that day, Gurudev would not depart. Trying to keep him. So, okay, he remained, but then after Kartik, then he went where? Went to Jagannath Puri. And I was there for like at least a month in his final days. And no one was informing Gurudev what day it was. Like, it's Ekadasi today, Gurudev, they were not informing Gurudev. Because Gurudev was really struggling at that time, and different, you know, Ayurvedic doctors were coming and trying to cure him, like that. But the day before he departed, I was 10 o'clock at night at the swimming pool below, because it's a hotel there. And I was looking up at Gurudev's room, and I was talking with another devotee. And I was saying, you know, Gurudev really wanted to depart on the disappearance day of his two godbrothers. In different years, but they departed on the same day, the same titi. Bhaktivedanta Vamana Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj. And Gurudev wanted, because they were the three pillars. But tomorrow is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj. I wonder. Sure enough, next morning, knock on the door. Gurudev has departed, Gurudev is gone. Like 4 o'clock in the morning. 1 hour before that, he departed. So, no one told him, but he departed on his godbrother's day. So how they are eternally united in this way. So we're so fortunate we're coming in this line. Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, all these great Acharya figures, and Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, we're in that line. So we should understand our good fortune, and we should pray to Krishna that we can always be completely devoted to our sadhan bhajan, and we will try to dive deep into what they have given in their books, in their lectures, and all of this. Gaur Premanande. Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Transcendental Disappearance Day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Transcendental Appearance Day ki Jai. Jai Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Gaur Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vegacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So are we going to have Guru Puja? Damodar, are we supposed to have Guru Puja now, or you had it before?
No, we should.
We should do now. Okay.
Your favorite?
You want to put the mic there? That's good. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Bandho Mui Savadhana Mate can do. Arana kari ho mane asha. Guru charane rati eise samadhi. Go, put flowers. Prasade puri sarva asha. Prasade puri sarva asha. Prasade puri sarva asha. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaur Premanande. You want to sing, Jasomati Nand? One of our singers should come. Yes, you come, sing Jasomati Nandan. Where's Jayashree? Jayashree, come on. Well, come on. Sing Jasomati Nandan. Come on. You are such a good singer. Come on. Arrange the microphone for her. You have to bring it down to her level. Yashomati Nandana Brajaparanagara Gokularandana What am I supposed to do? Oh. Braja Jana Palana Asura Kula Jai Gaur Premanande. Jai Saparikar Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Jiu Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj Transcendental Appearance Day Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Vedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ashtotara Sata Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Charja Baladevi Bhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Das Raghunath Sada Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Adi Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jai Shri Antaradvip Mayapur Simantadvip Godrumdvip Majadvip Koladvip Ritudvip Janadvip Moda Drumadvip Rudadvip Advaka Shri Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jai Shri Purushottam Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadasha Vadatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai. Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu Ki Jai. Srimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashta Shaki Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Ananga Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai. Shrimati Brinda Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Purnamasi Yoga Maya Devi Ki Jai. Shri Gopi Swar Mahadev Ki Jai. Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsinga Dev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhu Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Charo Dham Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai. Akara Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai. और अनन्य शाकमान समूह की जाए. श्री विश्व वैष्णव राज सभा की जाए. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाए. त्रिभुवन पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाए. त्रिभुवन मंगल हरिनाम प्रभु की जाए. हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जाए. सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जाए. श्री नित्यानंद महाजन की जाए. श्री पंच तत्व की जाए. समवेत भक्त वृंद की जाए. समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाए. जय श्री श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि बोल. श्री गुरुदेव ट्रांसेंडेंटल थिरुदार महोत्सव तिथि की जाए. श्री नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज की जाए. श्री वामन गोस्वामी महाराज आविर्भाव महामहोत्सव तिथि की जाए. श्री रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जाए. समवेत भक्त वृंद की जाए. Nitai Gautramanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Vrindai Tulsidevai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.